Hey everybody, welcome to the High Path channel. Today is very special because we are doing a Q&A, so to speak, on our channel. This is going to be a lot of answered questions from our community post all about Trey's health. Trey is my husband, a lot of you know, and he is always in the background, and you have noticed that I have mentioned a lot about his health journey and his autoimmune issues. And so we asked you if you had any questions about it, and today we are doing a full video on his health journey.
So this is just a disclaimer. I'm not a medical practitioner. This is just my journey, what I've done during this journey, literature that I've read, all that good jazz. So, just got to give the disclaimer. I'm just a guy that's it, that researches and reads and this is just my understanding. It's not like I'm not saying that this is exactly what it is and the only way that it can be. So, yeah.
Let's just start off with who we are first, because some of you have asked like how we met and how did it all start.
So,
So,
how did it start?
long story short, okay, we started back in, it's been like 17 years ago, roughly.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
Maybe even a little bit longer than that.
Right.
Yeah, so about maybe 18, 19 years ago.
Yeah, because we knew each other for a little bit, and then we kind of like separated.
Yep.
For a while.
And I was in Taiwan, and Trey was in Vegas, and we met on the World of Warcraft, the game World of Warcraft. This is a very popular game. It's actually worldwide, of course. That's how we met, and we became friends. We did a lot of stuff together, and we were friends for a long time online. We did the long distance thing for about 2 years, and then I came over to Vegas. We got married. Now we have 5 kids, and that's how it all started. Yep. We did have a question. Were you ever bothered by a different race? We interpreted this a little bit different, but I come from a very traditional Chinese family. And truth be told, my dad did say you can marry any race but black. And guess what? I married Trey. It just so happened, you know?
Yeah, her mother actually, one of the very first things told me is that like you are not accepted in our culture, and it was like, yeah, kind of a shock.
And honestly, though, it's you're not accepted in a
Right.
lot of cultures,
Right.
Even in America,
Right.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
Still up to this date. So
Yeah, and I mean, there's of course like black guy or quote unquote black guy, and Asian girl. Yeah, we do get a lot of, not as much now, but when we 10 years ago, um, it wasn't as accepted, and I mean, still a lot more than what it used to be like back in the day when I was growing up, but still, yeah, a lot of people didn't like seeing us together. Still to this day, a lot of people don't like seeing us together. I mean, black people don't like seeing me with her, and it goes both ways. I don't think there will, maybe one day it'll just be beyond that where people just are completely blind to it. But there's still closet racists and people that just politically accept it, but behind closed doors they really don't approve of it. And I mean, like it doesn't matter ultimately, but there are like I understand it to an extent. People grow up certain ways, they're raised certain ways, and you just that's
what they know.
That's what they know. That's what you believe, and you stick to it. And it's just the hateful side of it. If you believe that a race should stick together, and you marry within that race and you have children within that race, and that's how it should be, that's fine, but you don't have to be hateful to other people about it. And that's where the problem arises. And so like There was even this one time we were at a not a grocery store, a restaurant. Remember,
Mhm.
the people were talking in Cantonese,
Yep.
and they didn't know that you
We were in
understood.
a Chinese restaurant,
Yeah.
or it was like a Malaysian restaurant, and then they were making really hateful comments, and yeah, they thought I didn't understand. I was kind of boiling inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it bothers her. It doesn't bother me as much. I grew up with it.
Yeah, but the thing is, so I grew up in an international setting. Like I knew every race. I was in Singapore. It was an international school, and so I was surprised that my parents would say that, because you put me in a school where there's a ton of race. Of course, I should be raised loving every single race. So what does it matter what race I end up with?
But you can love every race. You just don't marry
Yeah,
any.
yeah, I guess so. Okay. This is the bulk of this video because a lot of you guys have lots of questions about Trey's health. Like I said, I mentioned a lot about his autoimmune disease and condition that he's going through. So let's go through some of these. I have all the questions here on my paper and I've grouped them. I'm just going to read some of these questions. This is all just about your health journey. So the first question, what is Trey's autoimmune issue and how much has the vegan diet helped?
So I'm dealing with autoimmune disease called dysautonomia, and dysautonomia is basically when your autonomic nervous system is not functioning properly. So anything that's on automatic, breathing, heartbeat,
Sneezing,
sneezing,
yawning.
Yeah, at
It
one
was
point,
broken.
yeah, at one point I couldn't yawn. I couldn't sneeze.
Sleep was just all over the place.
Heart palpitations, you know, like, as a TMI, but like constipation and diarrhea, like bowels, hungry, not hungry.
Yeah.
For the longest time, I never had an appetite. Like I
Yeah.
actually forgot what it felt like to be hungry.
His stomach wouldn't digest stuff. You wouldn't feel anything going
Right.
on.
Right. Yeah.
It was really concerning because the heart palpitations really was scary because we thought that you were having a heart attack. And we
Right.
went to the emergency many times, you know, and it was kind of scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
It was a
mean,
dark time in our
yeah,
life.
it was definitely very dark. Depression or anxiety.
Right.
And so that's what a lot of the doctors told me I was dealing with, but I refused to listen to that because I knew that it was not that. Now there is it it's hard to not have anxiety when everything that is happening, like, anxiety is going to be a natural side effect or byproduct,
because you're worried. You don't
yeah,
know what's going on.
exactly, and doctors aren't helping you. So, like, yes, there was some anxiety there, obviously, but anxiety wasn't the cause of all this. All these things were happening, and anxiety came, like, nobody can fix me. Am I gonna die like this? You know, like, what's gonna happen? Is this gonna be what's gonna happen for the rest of my life?
Right.
I mean, yeah. So it turns out it wasn't anxiety. It's dysautonomia.
So let's talk about like the journey to your diagnosis, because we did go through a lot of doctors.
Right.
We went through like gastro doctors because we thought it was his gut. We went through, like I said, in the emergency rooms. They actually thought that he was perfectly fine. Actually, a doctor that you saw thought that he was really boring because he was like perfect condition.
Yeah. Yeah. So my numbers. So the problem with dysautonomia is it's autonomic, and so autonomic isn't going to reflect the chemistry that's going inside of your body. And so all of my numbers were showing great because I was eating such a great diet. You know, all mineral count, electrolytes, I mean, my hemoglobin, I mean, my
Everything, yep.
H1, yeah.
Up to your heart.
Yeah, up to my heart. I mean, my heart, I had a
EKG.
not the EKG, but a echo done on my heart, and the doctor, like, looked at me and said, "Your heart is like the poster boy for for like the perfect structure. Like, your heart is perfectly sound. So, like, My heart was good. I had a doctor also tell me that I was a poster boy for health as far as my numbers, because my numbers were just like spot on, perfect down the line. Yeah, really nobody was able to help me out with the situation. Everybody, like she said, one of the doctors literally laughed at me and said that I was boring. And I was trying to explain to him just everything that was going on. And I understand, because at some point you start getting frustrated because nobody's helping you. And the symptoms that I was explaining they're all over the place. And so it I guess it would sound like anxiety, and I can understand why it can be misdiagnosed. But if I'm telling you that I don't have I've never had any problems, I have no history of anxiety or any type of depression or anything of the sort, and you have somebody telling you that these the fatigue was out of control, like no energy
Yeah.
whatsoever.
You felt like you're dying.
Yeah, there was times where like I felt like I couldn't even make it through a full day of work. Like I my body was just so drained of energy every single day. And so you have somebody telling you these symptoms, and you're letting them know, like, I have no history of this. Like, my family doesn't have any history of anxiety or depression that I know of. And yeah, so to me, a doctor should listen to their patient and want to go the extra mile to try to figure out what's going on with them. And it took sitting down in front of a holistic practitioner that dealt with a lot more autoimmune issues, um, to diagnose me. I mean, it was like just about immediately. He knew exactly what was going on as soon as I explained everything that was happening. After he checked my blood as well, and saw what was going on with my blood. And yeah, that was pretty much I wouldn't say saving grace, but that was like finally a sigh of relief that, okay, somebody at least has an answer. And even if it was just like, look, this is something that you're gonna have to live with, at least I knew what I was dealing with, and I can start formulating something around that. But just to be like laughed at and constantly told that you're perfectly fine when you know that you're not, yeah, that's pretty worrisome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now let's just discuss, how did you find our current doctor, your current doctor, Dr. Rob, and what treatment are you on right now?
He's a holistic doctor that specialized in autoimmune diseases, and really a whole lot of stuff. And his practice isn't very well known, so I've known about it for quite some time because it uses frequency healing. Frequency healing, it was discovered by a man named Dr. Raymond Royal Riff, quite some time ago. I think it was in like the 1950s, or it might have been like 1800s even. I forget the exact time that it was discovered. But basically what he discovered is that all disease and really everything operates on a frequency. I don't know if you know that or not, but so what he discovered is that if you can find the exact frequency that a disease is operating on, that you can send that frequency to that cell or that disease or that virus or whatever it may be, and you can literally destroy it. It's essentially the same concept of a opera singer hitting a certain pitch and breaking a glass. Like, that's pretty much the same concept, of dealing with frequencies. Now, there's two different modalities of this. So one is what I just explained, which is more of a destroying agent. But then there's also what's called PEMF, which is what this does is sends certain frequencies to certain organs, certain systems within the bodies, and gets them to operate more optimally or at the frequency that they should be tuned to operate at. Initially, it it sounds kind of like hocus pocus, but um,
I mean, it does kind of.
yeah, no, it
But
does. Like it's very like scientific, very not scientific, but more very like sci-fi.
yeah.
And so, but once you understand it, and you understand that everything operates on a frequency. I mean, from herbs to grass to, I mean, the air, sounds, like everything's vibrating on some type of frequency. And once you have a understanding and concept of that, it makes more sense, because you understand the technology, or you understand what's happening around it. This is the treatment that I have been on for the last almost 2 years now. It took about like 3 or 4 months before I started noticing the effects of it. But essentially, what it does is, I don't know if a lot of you know about like grounding. It's basically like it charges you up. So you can look at it as almost like batteries. And so we have so much energy inside of us, and our batteries get um, overfilled with positive ions. And these positive ions need to be discharged. And so we can discharge these ions into the earth through grounding and fill our bodies back up with negative ions. So this whole like concept of like positive energy and all this stuff is actually like kind of reverse. Really, you want negative energy, which are the negative ions coming into your body. PEMF is the treatment that I'm currently on. It's made, I mean, just leaps and bounds strides with my condition. I chose this route along with the natural food healing because, the allopathic community just wasn't, they just weren't making any strides. It just seemed like they're just being kind of written off as something else. This doctor has just really, really helped me beyond all belief. And he stated in the beginning, like, it could have been done all through just food, but this is more or less like a supercharge. So just imagine we're just like essentially just pumping energy into my cells, boosting the energy. And what would happen was is like once I started feeling the effects, it was like every treatment, after the treatment, I would be boosted up with all this energy, and allowing my organs and systems to start functioning at a better rate with more energy. But as the week would go on, because I would do a treatment once a week, you can literally feel the degression of energy. And so it was just really, really crazy. It's like every single week I would go, you just feel the spike in energy, and then just over time that energy would slowly digress or decrease. And so what ended up happening is over time, the more that was going to the treatment, the longer that span of energy would last. And over time, it just started feeling like I didn't need the treatment as much, to where I'm at the point now where I'm going every other week. And by the time the second week comes around, I really don't feel like I need the treatment at all, like whatsoever.
Huge improvement.
Huge improvement, right?
But it took a while.
It took a little bit.
Like, yeah. I would say it took about a year, almost up to the 2 years to actually feel normal again.
Right,
Until like now recently we have been able to go out
right,
and do normal stuff and go to farmers markets
right.
and just be around people.
Just be, yeah, like just I really feel like things are just really stabled out, and
Yeah.
yeah, really balanced out. And
Good job, babe.
yeah, so PEMF, like it's a thing, and I think we will see more of it in the future. I think it will become a normal modality of healing. It sounds kind of scary in the beginning, but you just have to, you got to stick with it. and it can really make a difference. Like I've literally seen, like, remember the little girl that came in the wheelchair? Yeah, so she had a really bad autoimmune disease, or I don't know if it was a disease, but a condition was paralyzing her. Like she was just like losing her ability to walk. Yeah, I watched that little girl end up walking again. There's another girl that was coming at that was like partially crippled, and she's starting to walk a lot better now. I mean, she's still crippled, but like when I remember when she first came in, actually she walked with those brace things. Yeah, she doesn't walk with those anymore.
Wow.
Right?
That's
Yeah.
cool.
There was a guy that when he first started, he was dealing with his immune system was suppressed from mold, mold toxicity. You know, his conditions like were completely alleviated. He doesn't even come to the treatment anymore. Taylor.
Really? The one with
Yeah,
the glasses.
yeah,
That's cool.
yeah. So like,
Congrats.
right,
That's
right.
huge.
Yeah. So I mean, I've literally seen the effects and from my own life, and you know, people are skeptical about things like this, but I could assure you, like this stuff is real. PEMF is it's definitely a thing, and I advocate for it and believe in it with all my heart.
So there's a question right here. I see your hubby is using nutrition for treatment. Did the doctor recommend any regime, medications, or treatments your hubby just knew would not cure him?
Yeah, so no, there was really no recommendations.
Because everyone
I was
thought you were perfect.
Yeah, everything. I mean, I was recommended sleep pills. One
Melatonin.
doctor wanted, yeah, melatonin. One doctor wanted to have a full. They thought I had lung cancer, so they wanted to do a full CAT scan on me, but they wanted me to consume the contrast because she wanted it with contrast and without contrast. But I I did not want to put any type of radiation inside of my body, nor did I want to put the contrast inside of my body, considering what was going on with me. And I already had a little understanding from the literature that I was reading, the effects of radiation, and so I didn't want to take that amount of radiation on for a guess.
Right.
And so I was pretty much begging for an MRI because the MRI is, you know, fractions of the radiation that a CAT scan is. But the medical system just will not, you know, at least my insurance or the medical system that I was around, or I don't know what the situation was, but would not approve of an MRI. And really, it boiled down to cost. You know, CT is fractions of the price, and so you have to do a CT first before you could get an MRI. We ended up driving out to California to um, have a full body MRI, and I ended up paying out of my pocket to have that done to find out some other stuff that was going on inside of me.
Yeah. What are the health benefits you've noticed since going plant-based? There was a question, do you consider yourselves plant-based or vegan as well? We are plant-based.
We are plant based, and not we're not even, like, I guess we're not even technically plant based because most plant based people don't consume oil, and
Yeah.
we still consume honey as well. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, from our business, like we use animal products on our skin, goat milk soap. We don't have a problem with it. To me, personally, health is a personal journey, and this isn't like a religion or a cult or a societal thing, or this is just about healing and living a healthy, honest life. Yeah, there's, from all the literature that I've read, there's nothing wrong with consuming a little bit of oil. Yeah, it's best if you don't, but I don't even know if that is necessarily true.
Yeah, we have a lot of we had some oil questions. So
Yeah.
let's just, since you're talking about oils, we may as well just go into it. It says here, so someone asked, why do you use coconut oil in place of other things with less or no saturated fat? Have you researched the health benefits of traditional soy foods you often state you avoid? So we'll talk about the soy in a little bit. Someone asked, is olive oil not healthier seeing that you use a lot of oil? Just asking. Many
Okay.
people who go plant-based exclude most oils from their diets for different reasons. Understanding from your videos, your knowledge from research, I always wonder, what have you learned about oils that make you include it in your family's diet, and what are the benefits?
All right. So this is the consensus that I've learned. If you looking at everything as a whole and as a collective, from what everybody is saying, not just one source, and looking at history as well. History shows that consuming oil, the right types of oils, in moderations, and depending on how you cook it, but even that's kind of questionable, um, is not going to kill you or harm you. So let's take the blue zones, for example. People in the blue zones consume a lot of olive oil, a lot. And they're considered the standards for health and longevity of life.
And they're not plant-based.
And
They're not vegan.
right. They eat about anywhere between 5 to 15% of meat or animal products, whether that be fish or actual animal products, whatever the case may be. So to me, that says history is the greatest case study. Um, and if they're looked at as the gold standard as far as longevity of health, then to me that says there's nothing wrong with consuming oil in moderation, and there's nothing wrong with consuming a little bit of animal products. Okay, if that's what you choose,
And if your body can handle it.
and if your body can handle it, correct. Now, if you're dealing with issues, obviously like gallbladder issues that are preventing you, or severe terminal cancer and terminal diseases in general, then yes, avoid all animal products at all costs, because that's what I've read in the literature. All the literature is a full consensus that if you're dealing with any type of terminal cancer or any type of terminal disease, that you want to eliminate all animal products, all oils. Now, the oil thing does kind of vary a little. So I don't know if you ever heard of Dr. Max Gerson, the Gerson therapy. Even within his treatment, that has been shown to cure cancer, terminal cancers, and a lot of degenerative diseases. You were allotted 2 tablespoons of flaxseed oil a day, and you were also supposed to take um, liver glandulars. So that also tells me that you know you don't need to completely eliminate oil. And even within his treatment, once you were cured of that terminal disease, or that degenerative disease has been reversed, clearly states that you're able to go back to your normal routine diet. And if you want to consume meat, that you're capable of consuming meat. There's a local herbalist out here in Las Vegas that cured herself of lupus twice. And in her protocol, she was allotted meat once a week or fish twice a week. And this was reversing lupus, and she was given only 90 days to live at one point. So to me, from everything that I've read and everything that I've learned, I just think that it's more about balance and focusing more on detoxification and opening up your detoxification pathways. And as long as you open up your detoxification pathways and they're flowing properly, your body can handle these things in moderation. We're a lot stronger than we think we are.
Just to point out, so the olive oil, we do use olive oil, but we don't cook with it because it's got a low smoke point. Is it high? Low smoke point.
Right.
So we just really just drizzle it in foods at the end. And then the coconut oil, I use it for baking because it has a, like, what's the word? It solidifies at a certain temperature.
Right.
So it kind of helps with crisping things up, like say a cookie or a cake. I just prefer, that's just a preference, really. It's no health.
Right.
Yeah.
And like I said, in moderation. I mean, if you think about it, the amount, some people have commented a lot of times like, oh, look at the amount of oil that you use when you cook with. But then you also have to think, look at the amount of mouths that
Right.
are consuming
true.
that amount of oil. And when you break it down, like each person really isn't consuming that much oil in the long haul of what's being made.
Yeah.
On that olive oil thing, and this is once again like the consensus of all the literature that I've read and everything that I've researched, everybody always says to never cook with olive oil. But now let's go to the Mediterranean.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Greek people. I mean, they
Italians too.
Italians, yeah. I mean, like people in the Middle East, like fry with olive oil, and I mean, look at these. A lot of these people are really, really healthy.
Yep. This is another question about Trey's health, really. So it says here, I notice your food choices aren't necessarily on Dr. Sebi's list for healing. What have you found out that keeps you from using this method of vegan healing?
So, in all actuality, I do actually follow kind of a hybrid of Dr. Sebi. It's not really Dr. Sebi, but I do eat a lot of foods off of Dr. Sebi's list, but I also eat a lot of, like, my main thing that I focus on is the food combinations. And so, if you've never heard of the food combinations, essentially what it is that proteins should never go with carbs, and carbs should never go with proteins, or proteins and carbs never go with fruits. And then there's certain fruits that only go with each other, and melons never go with anything other than melons. And then there's like, it goes in like a little bit deeper nuances in terms of like, you should only eat one protein per meal, like you shouldn't mix proteins, and lemons and limes go with everything, they cross all boundaries. So,
and acidic fruits.
Yeah.
So
yeah, acidic fruits don't go with sweet fruits, so you don't eat bananas with limes and whatnot. And so I stick more to food combinations than I do certain foods, but I do follow more of a quote unquote alkaline, because really no food is alkaline unless it's not cooked and it's raw. And even some raw foods actually aren't alkaline forming once they hit into your body or get into your digestive tracts. And that's like a whole nother story, because like certain foods, no matter if they're raw or not, they're not actually alkaline forming foods. And so I kind of take that with a grain of salt, because I'm not in that phase of healing yet to where I can do a heavy detox like that. My kidneys and liver still aren't up to par in order to really drive down that lane. To answer the question, I follow, it's a hybrid alkaline diet. I really focus more on food combinations than I do on the alkalinity of foods, because that is kind of a misnomer, because as soon as you cook any food, it's no longer alkaline.
Now we also had a lot of questions on Trey's daily diet. So, so really, okay, you've seen a lot of our videos.
I have the most boring diet in the world. Okay. And it's not boring to me. I love my diet. I love the foods that I eat. That's why I can eat it every single day. And it's I think this discipline that's allowed me to heal the way that I have, pretty much fruits in the morning,
Which
salad in the afternoon, and I can have any cooked food that I want in the evening. So I have, I guess you could call it two-thirds raw.
yeah, that's like 50-50 maybe.
Yeah, no, it's like two
Because it's
thirds
like
raw.
fruit is raw, you know, and
Salad
salad is
is,
kind of
yeah,
raw.
salad is
But it's
raw.
kind of cooked too. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because, well, now, so I used to eat a completely raw salad, but now I have my roasted vegetables in the salad just because I love it so much.
Or the chickpeas.
Or the chickpeas,
Yeah.
yeah. So, but for the most part, like, yeah, it's two-thirds raw and one cooked meal in the evening. And this is kind of a hybrid from a lot of the healing protocols that I've learned about, and I really have adapted from the lady that I told you about that had lupus. She's a herbalist, and this was kind of what she did, but I've just kind of modified it to include the food combinations, more alkaline diet, and only the fruits in the morning, and particularly apples. And the reason I eat apples is because they're really high in malic acid, and malic acid helps to detoxify, cleanse the liver, and it's really just it's a great fruit to eat in general.
Another top choice is watermelon.
Another top choice, but watermelon is like when you are it can really pull on the organs.
Yeah, you'd be
Yeah.
surprised how strong fruits really are if
Yeah.
you eat the way that you should.
Right. Yeah. And if you're actually detoxing, yeah, I love watermelon a lot, but it's pretty heavy and harsh on my body, so I try to I limit it.
We also do
Grapes with
yeah,
grapeseed.
grapes,
Grapes
seeded
with
grapes.
Seeded grapes, yeah. Seeded grapes are amazing for the kidneys, and just overall detoxification.
Papaya.
Yeah, papaya. Oh, love papaya.
Strawberries. You used to eat a lot of
Yeah,
strawberries too.
strawberries. Strawberries are really, really great. The entire berry kingdom is really good for the nervous system and for the brain. Particularly strawberries. Strawberries are really high in, not, I wouldn't say really high, but strawberries have tryptophan in them. Tryptophan is the precursor to melatonin and serotonin, which serotonin is the happy chemical, and melatonin helps you to sleep, and it's also good for the thyroid as well.
So because of this discipline, obviously I cook his meals separately because the kids and I we just not recent, but we switched to being a plant-based family for maybe like a couple of years roughly.
Yeah, about 2 years. So they're still in their transition.
And we're still we're relaxed, you know.
Yeah, still learning, still new. I hope that one day we can all be on the same train, because I don't ever plan on going back the other way. If anything, I hope that I can become a little bit more fruit based, with the ability to eat outside of that when I want to. But I do wish that I could consume more fruit. But I think I'm dealing with a little bit of fungal and yeast issue at the moment. So that's the other reason I limit the fruits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's still healing, you know, so strict diet.
Strict diet.
That's why.
Yep.
Do we plan meals in advance? For him, kind of, yes, because we already know what he eats every single day.
Right.
So we just plan according. The kids and I, we kind of just eat whatever we want, and within budget, of course. I will, if you guys are still interested, I will do a quick video on what he eats in a day just to show you guys, because it is really, it is sustainable, because you already know you're gonna have a salad or fruit in the morning for breakfast. You have a salad, any kind of salad you want, and then just anything cooked if you want to at night.
Yeah, and really soups, like it's hotter now in the summertime, but that's actually really good for detoxing, get the body sweating and sweating out some of those metals and whatnot and toxins. But one of the biggest things, another thing that I learned from a lot of the healing protocols, is soups are good just because they're easily digestible. You extract all the minerals out of the food and you can just consume it in a liquid, and it hits the body and it really nourishes you. It's easy on the digestive system, which needs to rest during
Now,
healing.
this is a huge topic, and a lot of you guys ask these questions on our video.
A lot.
A lot. And that is, have you researched the health benefits of traditional soy foods? You often state you avoid or limit soy. We do limit soy.
Right.
We're not a soy free. I mean, I do like to eat some soy every once in a while. I do like tofu, but we do limit it.
Really, what it boils down to is there's not enough long-term studies around soy to show that it is worth consuming at the high amounts that we consume it at.
And so, it's in everything.
And it's in everything.
Literally.
Yeah, it's in everything. It's used for everything. I mean, it's even used for mushroom farming, right? And like I said, I don't have, you want to use soy, like by all means use soy. That's your jam, and that's fine. And we we do consume soy, but at a very moderate rate. And so one of the big reasons also I like my family to avoid soy is because the Monsanto, essentially, like Monsanto owns like pretty much all the soy. And we we can use non-GMO and certified organic soy, but things get cross-pollinated all the time, and we don't know how infected our soy industry really is. Monsanto like pretty much owns the industry, and I'm pretty sure a lot of those case studies that everybody is reading comes from Monsanto, who's probably lobbying to make sure that soy is looked at as better than what it is, or whatever the case may be, because that's just unfortunately what happens. And so, I'm not saying that that's exactly what it is. Like, please don't get me wrong. What I'm saying is, and to be very clear, is I would rather allow history and time to show what is good and what isn't, than going off of some case studies that can easily be manipulated to show that something is better than what it is. And so I always take case studies with a grain of salt, just because there's a case study for everything. There's a case study for something that's good, and then there's another case study showing that something's bad, and there's another case study for this, and it's just like all these case studies because people are trying to prove their point. And unfortunately, like, some people that are actually have like good intent and are really wanting to show that something has a positive effect, and they're actually doing it in a legitimate manner, their case studies are drawn out by this sea of case studies to show, so it's just like, what do we really know? And we're going off of data that can be unfortunately manipulated and be used in a biased fashion, just to unfortunately make their pockets fatter. And it's unfortunate, but that's what happens in our country and in society these days in general. So yeah, I mean, is soy gonna kill you if you have a little bit of it? No. But the amounts that we're consuming it in these days, and it's just in everything, I don't believe that there should be any one thing in so many products, and we as people just consuming it at those high of rates like that. So that's pretty much my whole stance on soy.
Yeah. Trey is a very heavy researcher. Therefore, you can see a whole list of books. And it's not just books, he's always online and videos. But there is a question here. What type of literature have you studied to help you along your health journey? So here are some of ours. He's going to go through all of them. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 books so far.
So I'll just
briefly.
Yeah, just briefly. This was like one of my first books. It was the first book that I purchased and read. It wasn't the first book. There's two other books that a friend had gifted me, or not gifted me, loaned me to read. But this book was like near to my heart. Barbara O'Neill. I really love this lady. She's like the sweetest lady in the world, and she taught me. I mean, so much at the beginning of this. My healing journey actually started like 6-7 years ago. I was diagnosed with H. pylori, and I had duodenal and peptic ulcers and polyps in my stomach. And so that's pretty much where my healing journey like really began. And so I went on the antibiotic treatment, and I kind of think that that was the catalyst that ended up morphing into this autoimmune disease. It's all anecdotal. I don't know for sure, but I was never right after those antibiotics. That's what I will say. Although I was good for a little bit. Like things did like seem, like as far as like the late weight loss and peptic, the ulcers went away, but then like things came back with a vengeance almost. It was like, yeah, it was kind of, it was pretty intense. And so self-healing by design, really
Self-heal.
Yeah, self-heal by design, really good book. This was actually this book right here, Timeless of Secrets, Health and Rejuvenation. This was actually one of the first books a friend loaned me. They do a gallbladder cleanse yearly, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you, or if you don't, there's a gallbladder cleanse where you drink apple juice. At nighttime, you drink like a grape juice and then like a shot of lemons or something, and it purges your body of gallstones. Well, that's where this book is where that came from. The guy in this book, really good book, a lot of good information, a lot of Ayurvedic information inside of here, but he's really biased. This one, he's like really, really like harsh when you read it, like about consuming animal products, and but it's still a lot of good information in here. So just like kind of FYI on that one. This was the next book that my friend loaned me that this is just like kind of a Bible, Healing with Whole Foods.
Oh, this is where you'll find the food combination.
Yeah, this is where you'll find the food combinations in this book. Yeah, this is where you'll find the food combination chart and how you are supposed to eat your foods. And this is more based off of TCM, traditional Chinese medicine. And there's a really lot of good information in this book. And believe it or not, Chinese, really the Asian culture, what I'm finding out is really a lot of the world were actually vegans. Animal, you think about it, like animal consumption is expensive. And it's not until we like increase in wealth that we can start consuming more animal product. And so this book actually opened my eyes to that a lot of Asian culture was actually vegan, before all of the meat consumption that's been eaten. And so this is a really, really good book. A lot of good recipes, how to eat, like what to eat when you're a certain body type, and yeah, just a really lot of good information inside of this book.
We have moved inside because it was getting a little bit dark. So we are back here. So let's continue with the literature.
Gerson Therapy, really, really good book. A lot of good information. I mean, teaches you everything. So like you said, I'm a really deep diver. I like to know the ins and outs of things. I like to know how my body is functioning. I like to know what this does, what this nutrient does, why I have to know the whys. I'm one of those guys. I'm sorry. And so this book tells you all the whys, teaches you how to read blood charts, tells you what all the different chemicals do, tells you what all the different minerals do, tells you like, I mean, pretty much everything, and why you're doing what you're doing in the treatment. And so it allows you that if you can't afford to go to the resort, that you can do the treatment at home and understand why you're doing what you're doing. Now, this treatment is more for people, like I said, that are diagnosed with terminal cancer, that have severe degenerative diseases, and it can reverse those and stabilize them, and in some cases reverse, the terminal illnesses as well. Now, what I will say is that this one is extremely intense.
Yeah, it was very scary.
Extremely
because
intense.
he did go through it.
Right. And
Yep.
Because I didn't know what was happening. I didn't know if I was dying of cancer. I didn't know if it was some degenerative disease that was not reversible. So nobody could help me. So at that point, I was just like, look, I know about the Gerson's therapy. Like, I'm just about to
Try.
go. Yeah, this I. What do I have to lose at this point? Because at that point, I felt like I was losing my life. I couldn't hold down any food.
Yep. You're losing a ton of
my
weight.
weight was just dropping rapidly.
No energy.
No energy. I couldn't sleep.
Yeah.
The brain fog was just wildly out of control.
Yeah.
Memory loss, like,
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't remember simple things. Like, I lived in Vegas for over 14 years, and I couldn't remember simple directions to get places. I was completely falling apart. So I didn't know what was happening. Everybody was worried. Everybody was concerned. I mean, family members looked at me. They didn't know what was going on. Family friends looked at me. They were like, "You're not looking good."
Yeah.
Yeah, your wife starts taking a lot of pictures of you with the kids and family. Like, you start realizing like she's getting concerned. Um, so yeah, so this was like, what I thought was the last resort. Really, really intense. There's a lot in this book, but it's really, really good. Just in terms of like even like to not go through the therapy, I think it's a good book to have on your shelf. Just the amount of information and the wealth of knowledge that's inside of this book is really good. My next book, who I hold this man very dear to my heart as well, is The Detox Miracle by Dr. Robert Morris. Dr. Robert Morris, I mean, man, this guy is just like, yeah, like when he speaks, like, it's just love. Like, you could just like the love radiating out of this guy is just, yeah, he's amazing, wonderful man.
Yep. He just wants to help people.
Yeah, he just wants us to all be happy and healthy and love one another, and that's what it's all about right there. Fairness and kindness. Yeah, he's more of a what you would call a fruitarian, and so he leans more on like we should all be fruitarians and we should all eat fruit. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of you guys are hearing, because it's starting to catch more wind. There's a lot more healers, like Dr. Yaki, Raphael Elohim. He is a fruitarian as well, and he actually he practices and teaches a lot on fruitarianism and eating more of a fruit-based diet than even a plant-based diet, because fruits are the true alkaline food, and they are the true detoxers, and they are the true like amino acids and source of energy. Because if you really look through nature, just everything in nature from biology, because another part of me is like I'm really into like biology and
anythingology.
Yeah, all the ologies. Yeah.
Mycology.
Mycology, biology. Yeah, so everything consumes glucose. I mean, everything wants the sugar. I mean, like, it's funny because I even thought about like Men in Black. Remember Men in Black when the aliens came
Oh
down
yeah,
and the
the
guy was just the
cockroach.
cockroach just wanted sugar. Like
Yeah, that's
everything
right.
just wants sugar. Like sugar, 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 sugar. You know, the brain wants sugar. Like we fear sugar, but it's the type of sugars that we eat. Like
Hmm.
this is
Not the white refined processed
right.
stuff.
We
It's
don't
the
want that.
actual, but it's good for you sugar.
Nature sugar.
Nature's
Right?
sugar. I
Nature
like that.
sugar, right?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, we
Nature
want
sugar.
nature sugar.
Yep.
You know, that's why I don't find anything wrong with honey. It's the way that if you can find a local beekeeper that you know like tends to his bees and loves his bees and cares for his bees and are trying to rid the bees of the Verona mite and it's not this like monoculture where the bees are being transported all over the country to farm. It's more localized, and I believe that's okay. Because it's a good thing. It's not they're I don't think they mind giving. They store up for the winter. We all share. Like yeah, it's monoculture. We're part of the
Ecosystem.
we're part of the ecosystem. Medical herbalism, another good book. Like if you want to understand like medical terms and how case studies work and placebos, double blind placebos, vitro, in vivo, all of the medical stuff and how all the herbs are used medically from a naturopath perspective or from a holistic perspective. All the contradictions, dosage, how to make tinctures, how to make capsules, how to make decoctions. I mean, like pretty much
It's all in there.
everything is in this book. Really, really good one. This one, alkaline herbal medicine. This is a really good one. Very, very simplistic, as you see, very small. But it breaks down a lot of what a lot of herbal books give you are they give you the herbs, not necessarily the formulas. So a lot of formulas, as you're working with herbs, you kind of have to trial and error on yourself. But what can happen is if you're like, take me for example, my kidneys and my liver are weak. Okay, my kidneys in particular, there's certain herbs that are good for your kidneys, but those same herbs that are good for your kidneys can actually hurt your kidneys. And I know this firsthand by taking something like taking too much juniper berry. That can mess up your kidneys. Like if you take too much of that. Dandelion root is should be good for your kidneys, but if your kidneys are weak, very very weak, too much dandelion can actually hurt your kidneys as well. And I say hurt in the sense of like cause you pain. Maybe more pain than what you want to be dealing with at that time. Now, that it's not to say that you can't scale back in the dosage and use in moderation, but you just have to be careful and know how to formulate the herbal recipes to suit your needs. And there's always another herb that can be used. So, like for example, corn husk or corn silk, purple corn silk is really good diuretic and really good for detoxing the kidneys. Super gentle, very, very, very gentle, very, very mild. Even a person with the weakest kidneys can take something like this. So, this book gives a lot of formulas and how to dose and what the herbs do and what the herbs are good for, contradictions, all that good stuff. So, really, really good book. The Practical Guide for Medical Marijuana. Man, this book, let me tell you, this is a
You can see by all of his little note tags.
yeah. So CBD and hemp really is very dear and near to my heart. It's just one of those plants that I've always loved. Yes, at one point I did used to smoke weed, marijuana, but um, I don't anymore. But CBD, like and I don't have against anybody that does. If it's used medicinally in the right ways and more than recreational, I think that it really is a miracle plant. Yeah, this is a really really good book on how to use CBD and medical marijuana. Once again, another medical book and talking about like how it's used medically and case studies and testimonials and dosages and everything. Everything that you need is inside of this book. My new favorite, which is a new journey that we are embarking on, because I found out one time they found this restaurant called Chaga Root. It's a mushroom restaurant and they make everything mushroom based, and they had started selling oyster mushrooms. And one day she brought home some pink oyster mushrooms to cook with. And I don't know, I just noticed like after eating those oyster mushrooms, like it's like it activated something in my body. I don't know how to explain it. I just started feeling a lot better after eating them. And I've always known about mushrooms. I've known about them for quite some time. In fact, during my journey in the very beginning, I was taking very high doses of turkey tail, and turkey tail is another mushroom that is anti-cancerous, and they use it a lot in Japan alongside chemotherapy treatment. And it's just it. There's a lot behind turkey tail. The beta glucans and polysaccharides that are in it, they really activate the immune system. And turkey tail has some of the highest beta glucans out of all the mushroom family. And so I was also taking a lot of lion's mane as well. So I've always known about mushrooms, but during the time I think I was detoxing so heavily, I couldn't really feel the effects of anything or what was going on. But because I have such a simplistic diet, anything new that I add on, I can really, gauge how it is or isn't affecting my body. And so, like I said, when I ate the mushrooms, I just noticed like I just felt a lot better overall in terms of like clarity. That's actually when I started feeling like I could go out again.
Huh.
Yeah,
Interesting.
that was after that I was like, okay, like
Yeah, because
yeah,
we didn't mention this, but we were on lockdown for
right.
like 3 years.
Right. Yeah.
A
So
long
like
time.
my immune system, I don't know if we mentioned, but my immune system during this autoimmune issue, part of it is my immune system was completely suppressed. So my white blood cells were not functioning at all. And so one of the things that I was dealing with that I could never put my finger on was every single time I went out in the public, I just ended up getting extremely sick and going like completely back downhill, and didn't know what it was, like, because at the time it was COVID, so I didn't know if I was like getting affected by COVID.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the case. It turned out it was just my immune system was suppressed.
And that included like us going out, bringing stuff.
Right.
So he just anything from the outside world was a no-no.
Right, pretty
So-
much. Like, yeah, I couldn't even go outside and tend to the farm.
Right, because of all the dust.
All the dust, pollen, like allergies
anything.
were out of control.
Yep.
Everything. It would cause brain fog. I was having like nervous system issues on my left side. I mean, it was wild, you guys. Like, yeah, I wouldn't wish this upon my worst enemy. I tell you, this was like that. Like, I'm talking really, really frightening period of my life. But yeah, medical 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 mushrooms, really really great book. I believe that medical mushrooms are not just medical mushrooms, but mushrooms in general are going to be the future of vegan meat the real vegan meat or the real plant-based meat or the real whatever meat you want to call it, like whatever it ends up getting labeled. I don't think all of these fake lab meats need to. I don't think they're gonna stand a chance against these mushrooms. The more that we discover and learn about them,
they're a powerhouse.
they are a powerhouse.
Everyone should be eating them.
They got all the amino acids. They're high in protein. They're high in anti-cancerous, antioxidants.
Tryptophan.
Yeah, they're high in the tryptophan, particularly oyster mushrooms. The oyster mushroom family is really, really high in protein, really super high in fiber. I mean, like,
powerhouse.
Yeah, no, these things, and they taste amazing.
Yep, and there's so many varieties.
So many varieties.
And there's so many different benefits in these varieties.
Yeah, so spoiler alert, like pretty soon you're about to see her cooking with a lot more mushrooms. Yeah, we've got a new little venture going on, so
stay tuned.
I'm
so excited. It tastes delicious.
Amazing.
You know I love food, so I'll be cooking with them.
Yeah, mushrooms, guys.
Mushrooms.
Get
it in your diet.
Get it in your diet. Yeah, really, really good.
Cool. Do you allow to eat non-vegan food when they are outside of the home? I'm assuming that's like, do we go out and allow the kids to go eat non-vegan? And the answer is no, we don't. We just stick to our plant-based vegan diet everywhere.
I think it's more, I'm reading it more like, when they go out with other people or other places.
Okay.
Well, we're pretty close niche family. Our kids don't really go anywhere without us.
Yeah.
So what we eat, they eat.
Yep.
They go over to their friends. Yeah. I don't know what happens when they're out playing
but they know.
At the neighbor's house. But yeah, our kids are disciplined as well.
Even the little one.
Yeah, even the little ones, and they know. Like there was an incident where Isaiah went to the grocery store and
someone offered him a lollipop.
Right.
The cashier, and then he asked, "Is this vegan?" Because he said that we're vegan. So.
Right. So
proud moment. Very cool. Did you cook all together before the channel?
I work a full-time job.
Yeah.
And so I've only been home for these last
few years.
Yeah, 2.5, 3, 2.5.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty much like the back end of COVID until now. Our whole relationship, I work full time. And so I'm gone 13 to 14 hours a day. So I'm really not present. You know, what went on here, I mean, you guys, we're always in the kitchen.
Yeah.
I mean, and the kids were always around. So like, I would say, you did always cook together. Because, I
have a bad memory. I need to eat more mushrooms. Because I don't remember.
Yeah, I mean, you're always in the kitchen. So.
Yeah, always cooking.
Yeah.
Going plant-based was a family decision all at once. And then also your family seems to have spiritual leanings. Is the lifestyle influenced by religion, like the Daniel fast, for example, or Adventists?
No, none whatsoever. But it's just funny how it comes full circle. Like, so first of all, like, I don't believe in diets. Diets are just kind of like a thing that comes and goes. This is it's a lifestyle, and I believe that it has to be a lifestyle. But we are biblical, we are scriptural, and I just find it kind of interesting how it all goes back to the garden, and if you really, really like analyze it and break it down, like in the very beginning, we were supposed to only eat the fruits.
Right. Yep.
And the herbs were supposed to be healing and meat to our body. Mm-hmm. So it kind of leans more towards the fruitarian thing. Like if you really want to go that route. But yeah, no, we're not 7-day advocates.
But we follow the Bible.
Yeah, we are.
We observe the Sabbath on Saturdays, Shabbat.
But we're not 7-day advocates.
Right.
So, the Shabbat is scriptural. We follow more of a Hebrew line of thinking, if that's the way you want to say it.
Where we observe the feasts.
We observe all of the feast days. We observe the Shabbat, we are scriptural. So
And if you haven't seen, we did do a video on like our Pesach dinner where we grilled some mushrooms, and it was really delicious. And it looked delicious, like actual grilled meat.
yeah, and
We
as
will
you,
link that.
if you've seen it, like you can see, like nothing we do is really traditional. We're kind of like against the grain of everything, and not intentionally. It's just the way that it turns out. Like technically, we don't really follow a true Jewish like traditions. We just keep things very simple. You know, we believe and we love, and I think that's the greatest and most important thing. And yeah, we do what we do.
Yeah. How do you make sure that you are eating a balanced diet? I think we did touch on this. Do you plan your meals to make sure you are getting what you need in the way of nutrients and things like calcium, iodine, iron, etc.?
Yeah, so you know, like it's just a matter of eating a balanced meal, knowing the different vegetables and what they have in terms of nutrients and minerals. You know, we're on well water, so we get a lot of minerals through there. We also have a remineralizer, so we get a lot of minerals from there through our water filter as well. And that's all I consume. I don't drink anything else other than water or the fruits and vegetables. It's just a matter of a balanced diet and making sure that we're quote unquote eating the rainbow, right?
Yeah. This is a big topic because a lot of you do ask this on our videos, and that is, was it hard to get your children on board with the healthy vegan lifestyle? And like, how did we do it? And what was the transition like for the kids? You know, stuff like that.
So what I recall is it was more of a fake meat transition.
Let's just start off with how I started, because
yeah.
I did not want to. Okay, just
transition. Well, so
I didn't want to be a vegan because, and I was actually
right.
It was pulling teeth, and because I didn't want to go vegan because all I knew was meat, of course, and I love my meat because it's delicious. And that was so. Then Trey talked me into it. I did a 30-day, like, what was it? Like a fruit? No, it wasn't fruit. It was like fruits and vegetables.
Yeah, fruits.
Just like kind of, yeah, just fruits and vegetables. 30 days, and then after that, we went into the fake meats. Yeah. To help the kids kind of transition. We did like the Beyond a lot, and then slowly, because you know we have goats, we started to kind of wean off of the goat milk.
I think it really was like you realize like, oh, this isn't bad. Like I can actually like.
It really isn't too bad.
Like, oh, I can do this. Like, oh, okay, yeah, no, this isn't.
Yeah. And we still had like our chickens. We still had our lifestyle, like our homestead.
Right.
We raised, I'm not sure if you know, but we raised sheep. We had.
We raised.
Yeah, we raised
we no
sheep,
longer raise
goats, chickens, ducks, and we were consuming milk from our goats, chicken eggs, and then that was like, you know, because
that was our lifestyle.
That was our lifestyle.
Yeah, ducks. I mean, the chickens, the sheep. I mean, like all of it. We did the normal, typical homestead life.
Yeah. After the fact that I realized like, yeah, we could do it, and I just started to cooking plant-based recipes.
And mind you, she's more vegan for the welfare of animals. So her switching point, what I helped her to realize was like, you don't even like animals being harmed.
Yeah.
So how can you
justify eating?
How can you justify consuming the animals for your pleasure?
Right.
And so once she realized that, like, okay,
I'm not gonna contribute to hurting the animals because I do have a big heart for animals.
Right.
And I love animals, and I don't want to hurt them.
She rescues animals. Like,
I still want to adopt. I've been begging Trey to get some more old dogs. Maybe one day.
So.
And that's how we got started.
Yeah, so she loves the animals, but realize like even somebody that was, I mean, I'm talking like a complete carnivore.
Because, you know, I grew up in, I mean, I think everyone goes through if you are brought up like everyone is a carnivore, because there's a lot of meat everywhere. Everything is meat from breakfast down to dessert. Everything is meat and dairy. So yeah, it was really hard for me at first.
Or animal based.
Animal based, yeah.
Yeah.
So it was really, really hard for me. But then once I realized that I could do it and I can kind of cook things that the kids like really, you know, if you've seen our videos, we make really family friendly things for the kids. Once they accepted that, and they were cool with it, and really we're more of a like, we are in it for the welfare of the kids as well.
Right.
I've lost a lot of weight. Emmanuel, our oldest, was really big. He was 10 years old at 190 pounds.
Right.
And going plant-based has really, really helped him lose a lot of that weight.
Yeah, suffering hyperthyroid issues.
Yep, that really has helped. We just continued to just go through eating plant-based all the time.
And we ask them like all the time, you know, because ultimately, like once they
are grown enough and they leave,
they're gonna do what they choose to do.
Yeah.
But they all what it seems to be, you know, because kids are gonna say what they, you know, they want to please mama and papa, but they seem honest. Like they don't want to consume it. They're happy with where they're at. They've realized that there is an alternative, and the food that is made is actually good. And when you really break it down, like, yeah, there's don't get me wrong, there's nothing that can replace animal fat. Okay. I'll be the first to tell you, there is nothing on this planet that I know of. Mushrooms are probably the closest one to it, but there's no fat in the mushrooms. But as far as like flavor wise,
that animal
fat, man, it's just like, yeah, that is some good stuff.
And it's just like flavorful oil.
Right. It's like ghee.
I'll just put it on some rice.
I love making ghee. Yeah, and so like,
there's just certain things.
There's certain things that you can't replace, but for the most part, it's just all sauces and spices. Like even when you're making, you know, animal-based products, it's really revolved around the spices and the sauce. And if the spice and the sauce is good, then the food is good.
Yep.
So, you know, like spice up your food, and you know, it's gonna be good.
Yeah, we don't like bland food, so just spice it up. Do you have any tips to keep your meals tasty and interesting? Spice up your food.
Spice up your food.
We kind of touched on this. What are the benefits of raw vegan lifestyle, and is Trey a raw vegan? He is not.
No.
We are plant-based, and there are certain benefits.
Yeah, I mean, the benefits are, you know, you get that more of an alkaline effect on the body, depending on the foods that you eat, because there's some foods that just are not alkaline, even if they are raw. The way that the chemical reactions happen inside of your body when you consume it, it's just not an alkaline forming food. Yeah, there are benefits to being raw, but I mean, hell, there's benefits to like
eating meat too.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard plenty of testimonials and stories on carnivores. Like, so like, you know, it's really what you make of it. So I think that
it's really just what works for
50 years from now, I think we're going to see something different on the carnivore diet. Kidneys start falling apart.
There was a question, do you ever eat out? Yes, we do. We don't eat out very often because, as you can see, we are a large family and everything is ×7 when we go out. So it's costly.
Very costly.
So we try to eat as much as possible at home.
But we do eat out. We try to choose vegan restaurants. I don't ever eat.
Right.
You know, because I don't know a lot of the oils that are being used. I don't know a lot of stuff that's being used.
And how they cook it and how they prepare it.
Right. You know, that we do have our favorite spots that we go to, like I mentioned, Chaga Root. Down to Earth. Like, man,
in Vegas.
For sure, Down to Earth. If you're ever in Vegas.
It's in Town Square.
It's in the Town Square.
It's on the 2nd level.
Some of the best vegan food that you will ever taste.
They do pizza, truffle mac and cheese, sandwiches. Just if you're in Vegas, just go there.
Yeah, big shout out to Down to Earth. For real. You gotta check.
You're one of our favorites. So this question is like, we've touched base, but it's, do you think being 80-90% plant-based would be healthy?
Yeah, like I said,
the more vegetables you consume, honestly, the better.
Whole food.
Whole
right? The
foods.
more whole food that you consume, and that's what I was saying, like even like these carnivore diets, like what do you think it really is like revolving around? It's a whole food.
Right.
Like just get
That's why
away
it
from the
works.
processed foods,
Yep.
get away from all the refined sugars, get away from all of the sodas and all of these juices, like all of this extra sugar, and just watch the body self heal. Now, do I think that you should do carnivore? I absolutely do not. It, for one, not sustainable. For two, I think these people's kidneys down the line are gonna get annihilated. But that's just like my thoughts about it. What I've learned from the consensus of like, you know, not just one person, you know, people that don't agree with each other, people that are biased, like the consensus as a whole, the animal proteins are just not good.
Especially how they are being raised and stuff now.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And so like, but really what it boils down to is a whole food diet. And do I think, yeah, 80-90% animal foods? Yeah. Like if you feel that you need that protein, which really is just a matter of amino acids. So if you're feeling like you need more protein, you just need to really consume more amino acids.
Right.
And you're going to get those proteins and feel that fullness that you feel like you're lacking, because protein is nothing more than just a structure of amino acids.
Yeah.
And the body has to actually break down that protein, and it takes more energy to consume a whole protein than it does to consume amino acids. So you can look at it like, is a builder gonna take apart a house to then go build a house, or is he gonna buy all the material to build the house? And so a protein is just a full house that has to be broken down and then built back up. But is there anything wrong with it? I don't think so. Like the blue zone eats anywhere from 5 to 10% meats also, and the Mediterranean people eat. I mean, even biblically, like I mean, it says you can eat meat. So there's a lot of people. My grandfather is one of the like strongest, hardiest. Like this dude is a complete soldier, and I mean he consumes meat, and I hope that I could live as long and strong and healthy as him. So
have you always homeschooled them? So maybe outside pressure, school isn't as hard when you school from home. We have not always homeschooled them, but we did pull them out right before COVID. It was like in 2019.
Yeah, and it was like it had nothing to do with COVID. It just happened to be like it's something that she always it's just something that she always wanted to do. And she finally just said, you know what, I'm just gonna do it, because she was always afraid. You know, it's a lot to teach kids. Yeah, she was afraid to do it, and finally she just bit the bullet and was like, I'm gonna do it. And then COVID hit, and it was like, oh wow, such a blessing.
Yeah, glad that we already pulled them out. How do or did you handle cravings for non-vegan foods like eggs and dairy? I still crave eggs. I still crave tuna. Those are my two biggest cravings. Other than that, really, I'm fine. Do you crave anything?
I mean, I don't really crave, to be on like completely 100% honest. I don't crave anything anymore. I just I want to eat food. I know when it's time to eat, and I want my food, and that's pretty much it. Like all my cravings have like pretty much subsided. Yeah, I don't have like sugar cravings. I don't have like none of these cravings anymore. Now, if I see something that looks good, yeah, I mean,
but
yeah, I mean, it looks good.
So
right?
for
and
like,
I have memories like bacon. I mean, I used to love bacon. You know, there's nothing like a nice fried egg.
Exactly.
Yeah, some good
just
like
some eggs,
medium cooked salmon, or
fish,
some lamb. Like I used to love lamb chops, guys. Like I it was the reason for raising sheep, because I really love lamb chops. So there's these things that I have memories of, but as far as like craving them, I don't ever crave them.
Now eggs, you can definitely do like mung beans, and you put black salt and just make it kind of eggy. The only thing is the sunny side up eggs, you can't really make, or like yeah, you just can't veganize that. Dairy, I mean, I think I'm fine with the dairy because there's like oat milk we can make at home, hemp milk, all these types of milks. Cheeses, maybe. Okay, so I was a huge cheese eater.
Man, cheesy.
Yeah. I would go to Trader Joe's and I would buy all sorts of like, I love brie, camembert, what else? Like Roquefort, just like all the soft, really funky cheeses are my jam. Now, I could definitely go out and buy some plant-based cheeses, but they're not the same and they're very expensive, so I don't. But yeah, the cheese really like, I'll just have to kind of forego.
But do you crave it?
Not really.
Right.
I don't really crave it. I really just crave my tuna sandwiches and eggs. Oh. Those are my two biggest things.
Yeah, and so
you could literally veganize everything, though.
Yeah, I think the cravings are more or less parasites and
maybe
bacteria inside still asking for some of these things, but that's just my 2 cents on it.
How do you handle social settings if friends invite you over who are not vegan? I'm a people pleaser, so it's hard for me to speak up sometimes. It really is hard. Right. But you believe in what you believe, and you're doing it for yourself and for your family.
Yeah. Real friends aren't going to pressure you.
Yeah. We can find a place with families aren't going to plant-based foods.
And like in public settings, it is hard.
It is.
But and people do like look at you funny and ask questions.
When we have a family friend.
Yeah. We have a family friend, but he's more
vegetarian.
Yeah, vegetarian. He's more like pescatarian.
Oh yeah, he is.
He eats fish. He caters to us.
Yeah.
Right. Even though he does, and he eats dairy as well.
Yeah.
But fish. when he invites us over, he caters to us.
Yeah.
We have another set of friends that are also whole Bible believers, and when we would have our gatherings in the very beginning, they would also cater to me.
Yep.
So we just
have good friends.
Yeah, we never had a problem with it. Really, I think it's just it would be more of a matter of being disciplined, and like she was saying, like just you believe what you believe, and just respectfully decline. The other part about it is like food it's a social thing, right?
Yeah.
It always has been, and so like I think it's more or less like just wanting to eat, like I just want you to eat this with me, and now you're going vegan and you're doing all this stuff, and now you can't eat this with me, and that kind of stuff comes out. But I think they would understand after a while. Like I think it's more a matter of just discipline. Like even like before I started working at home, when I was in the office.
Oh yep, they would invite you out.
Yeah, and I have my lunch, and like no, like this is what I do.
Yeah, if we have friends or family over, I will just make plant-based foods and they'll eat what I make. And I mean, it's delicious. It's not like I'm just gonna make them a salad.
Right.
We always have something delicious. So you still just gotta, I would suggest just sticking with it because you're doing it for you and for your family. Right. So just stick with it. You can still be friendly with people, but just stick with it.
You do what you do.
Yep.
Stay in your lane.
Stay in your lane. What are your substitutes for ground beef meals, like spaghetti, meatloaf, burgers? I'm not a black bean fan. What do you sub for eggs, flour, sugar, and butter? For butter, I substitute so we can make butter to like put on toast. We make it with just cashews, some coconut oil, and like a liquid oil. Now, as far as just butter in terms of like cooking, we just use coconut oil because of how it reacts in the cooking. Sugar, I always use coconut sugar. Flour, we mill our own. We make our own oat flour or spelt flour. Eggs, we substitute it with flax. So ground flax, every 2 tablespoons of flax is like 2 eggs. You mix it 2-to-1 ratio of water. So every 1 flax egg, every 1 tablespoon of flax, you use 2 tablespoons of water, and that helps you bind everything. That's what eggs are for. It binds and it kind of helps you rise. But yeah, just substitute with flax or chia seeds. In terms of the spaghetti, meatloaf, and burgers, we haven't made a burger. We've made meatballs, the chickpea meatballs, and that turned out really, really good. Or it's not chickpeas, actually, it was made of lentils, just cooked lentils. I have a video on it. If you want to, I will link it in the description.
And the meat substitute will be
Mushrooms, right?
Yeah, it's definitely mushrooms. We'll be playing around with a lot of different varieties, and
we will experiment for you guys.
Yeah, yeah.
We're excited. I can't wait. I love mushrooms. Yeah. But right now we do use lentils, green lentils, red lentils. I think that's it.
Yeah.
In terms of that, or like tofu, but really just lentils and beans. I don't really like black beans either. They're kind of tough, so I prefer red lentils. What are the basic 10 ingredients I should buy to begin plant-based living? I love intermittent fasting, and I do eat dairy, but I prefer plant-based meals.
That's a very good question. That is a very good question.
Well, it's kind of hard to just choose 10 basic ingredients.
10 basic ingredients.
To start plant-based?
To start plant-based? So you're just starting out?
It depends on your lifestyle and what you like.
So they eat dairy.
So substitute your milks. That's one thing. With like homemade oat milk or homemade hemp milk. That's a basic. You can put that in everything. Yeah. Meaty substitutes, lentils.
Yeah, definitely lentils. I was thinking lentils.
Yep. Dairy. You're gonna get, if you really love like cheesy stuff like mac and cheese and things, which is very American, you definitely should get nutritional yeast.
Right.
If you're like transitioning, you know what I mean? Yeah. Nutritional yeast and cashews, because that makes it really creamy.
Right.
So really any type of nut, but cashews really work really well in like a, because I know if
they're so
it's
versatile.
hard.
You can use them in like so many different ways.
In sweets, like frosting a cake and stuff like that.
I would say honestly, if you're just starting out, find a pea protein, one of the fake meats,
or mushrooms.
Yeah, I would say, to be honest, I would say completely skip the fake meat, just because the amount of fat that's
and the processing that goes into it.
I would truly say find a local mushroom farm in your local area. You pretty much every farmer's market have it, and even if your local farmer's market doesn't have it, from what I've learned is that dried mushrooms can be rehydrated and they're still just as good. The texture changes obviously, but they're still just as good, and in some cases the nutrition actually goes up in them.
And the flavor may actually be even more concentrated.
It is. It is even more concentrated.
So that's 5 items, babe. Hemp seeds.
Okay, yeah, hemp seeds. I would say is a good one. Find your favorite vegetables.
Right.
And figure out how to make a really good salad out of it that you can. So from your dressing to the salad.
Yeah.
And that can really like sustain you. As far as like your journey in plant-based. So I would say find a really, really good like go-to salad that you love, that you can
eat all the time.
That you can eat every day.
For instance, we make roasted beet, broccoli, and cauliflower for Trey's salad pretty much every day. Yeah. That's his favorite go-tos, and then we make a cilantro, lime, and hemp sauce that goes onto it. It's
spicy,
tangy, it's spicy.
Right.
Yeah, and he can eat it all the time.
Yeah.
So that's 7 items. This is hard. I was gonna look in our fridge. Like, what do we have?
Right. Yeah. No. It's harder for me because I'm not your traditional plant-based person. Like if I
would say vegetables. A grain that you really like. Quinoa is a good one.
Yeah.
It's like a rice. Brown rice we always go with.
Dates. Yeah, dates. You can use those a lot of different ways.
And one more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. What's one more like really?
For just starting off plant-based foods.
I like to go like frozen veg, because that could be made into sauces, and that lives in the freezer.
Potatoes.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I would say potatoes.
Cool. We got 10.
Yeah, because they're really versatile. Like
Yeah,
you can
that's true.
roast them, you can put them in a stew.
Boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so the last set of questions is really just kind of not really like health wise or plant based. Like this is kind of just different, like just questions about us and stuff. So Britt, you have been with us for a long time. Thank you so much for always watching us. So Britt has a few questions. When are your birthdays? We have Grace Grace is in April. We have two of the youngest ones are in May. Mine is in June. Trey's is in August. We have Israel's in September. Emmanuel is in December.
Right.
So all of our birthdays start in spring, and then they kind of just they're like back to back, almost.
Yeah, we got our anniversary.
Oh yeah, anniversaries, everything. What made you settle down in Nevada, and do you anticipate moving in the future?
Nevada, I came out here because my mom came out here. I came out here like 2000, and so I've been out here for quite some time. She came out here because
Of you.
Yeah, came to me. It's hard to leave Nevada. We've thought about going to other places. We want to go somewhere that's a little bit greener,
cooler, more 4 seasons.
Yeah.
Honestly,
where I can grow.
Yeah, we're nomads. I mean, we've been here for a while, but I've definitely moved a lot when I was a kid, and you moved a lot. And I'm fine with moving, but it's just we're kind of attached to the people around us. The community is just
really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's what makes it kind of hard to move.
Yeah, and the kids have friends here. We're founded here. We have a business here. We have a homestead here. There's more things. Like I'm still not finished with this property. I've been delayed for the last 3 years in the progress of my property, and I'm just getting my health and my life back.
Right.
And so a lot of my ambition and drive is coming back for things that I want to do, and
we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it makes it hard to leave something that you don't feel that you have completion to.
Now, Britt also asked, besides food and soap making, what are your other hobbies? Hobbies. We don't really have hobbies because we're
our life is our hobby. Yeah, I would say like our life is our hobby. Like because at least for me, like between raising the goats, and we finally are gonna have our own line of goats here that are like outstanding, wonderful goats, and I love breeding, or not breeding, but growing and cloning and plants and trees, and now
the farm and the garden, and
now starting on mushrooms and mycology, and so like for me it's my life, like just this whole lifestyle and
and
reading.
I like to read. I do like to read a lot of thrillers, and I don't know, we watch movies,
right,
and we eat a lot, so we cook a lot. So that's our hobby. What are your favorite cheat meals? Honestly, all of our meals are kind of cheap because we just really love to eat what we make. So kind of everything is a good cheat meal. Going out is a cheat meal.
Yeah, I would say that's the biggest one. Like another shout out to
Down to Earth.
Yeah, because that's a big cheap one. That one.
Yeah. That one is We love the plant-based pizzas there. What else? The fish fry, because it's made of oyster mushrooms. Oh, so good.
Yeah.
So and what is something you have been meaning to do but haven't gotten around to yet?
Oh, geez. Vacation.
Everything in. Oh yeah, I was gonna say in the garden. Everything in the garden.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, like.
But other than that,
outside of like our normal life,
vacation.
The property is kind of like just. There's a lot of things to catch up on. But outside of that, like a vacation.
Yep.
Like, we really.
A family full like month-long type. You know what I mean? Like a long, good vacation.
Yeah, because there's even been thoughts of just like selling everything and like traveling vacation, like complete shutdown, and just take a complete break, reset.
Yep.
Yeah, because this
Physically, mentally, emotionally.
right,
This grind is hard.
last 3 years has been
Yeah, and we have a lot of catch up to do.
right.
Zoe asked, when did you start your homestead? How long did it take to get established? Well, we
still being established.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's always going to be
it's a project.
Always a project. There's always projects going on. It's never going to be finished.
Yeah, I've been talking about like we're done with fencing for the last how many years?
A lot. We moved out here 10 years ago. We're still working on stuff, and it's been 10 years.
Right.
We're still buying fencing.
Well, not really.
Okay, no, we're not.
Yeah.
You were talking about buying fencing.
So I was talking about buying fencing only because we thought that there was a problem, but there's not actually a problem. So yeah, we're pretty much done with fencing. Like the foundation has been laid, and we know the structure of the property and how everything should be. Now it's just a matter of establishing the things that we want.
Fruit trees.
Yeah, different types of the
fruit
trees that we want, the different herbs that we want.
Yep.
Now that I have a greater understanding of health, just farming and the types of trees that I want on the property. Now it's a matter of just getting those things established.
I've been wondering if your family is Christian. I'm wondering because of the biblical names of your children. Well, we are believers, and so that's why we have all of our kids' names from the Bible.
Right. So if you want to label us, we are Christians, but I don't like to say Christians. We're believers. We believe because that's what the original fathers were saying in the beginning, is that we were believers. That term Christian kind of was later something that was coined that was more of a derogatory term more than a positive term. And so we're believers. We believe in all the scripture, the whole scripture from front to back. We believe in the feasts, the whole nine, the whole gambit.
Joanne asked, do you shop sales? I do a lot, but a lot of our stuff that we eat, it never goes on sale.
So she used to be a coupon queen. We literally, like back in the day, when couponing was just taking off and they were trying to write all kinds of new laws to prevent these thieves from robbing their stores.
It's not thieves, because they give us coupons.
Yeah, no, they were robbing the stores. I mean, this girl used to come home with, cases and
free stuff.
Just ton. We had a whole entire garage dedicated to her couponing. It was wildly out of control. So she coupons, but it's hard to coupon now because eating organic
is they have some coupons, but it's not the same.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, it's really difficult to. And then we don't use chemicals, and so that's one of the things that is another part of living a holistic and just changing the way that you live, is like ridding your house of all chemical products. We don't use foil.
Yeah.
We try to use glassware all that we can, things like that. It's really hard to shop deals on these type of things.
Yeah. Fly swapple? That's cute. Where did you learn to cook without recipes? Good cooks always cook by taste. My mom cooks like that, and she's a great cook. Must be the Asian people cooks like that. I don't like rules. I'm not a very orderly person.
No.
I'm a creative, abstract, spontaneous type of person.
Very out of order.
Very out of order.
Yes.
He's the analytical.
It drives me crazy.
Yeah.
Like no structure at all.
That's me. That's why I like to cook the way that I cook, because I just don't like to follow recipes. I don't know. I didn't learn it in a way. I kind of just developed my way of cooking because I don't like to follow recipes, and I like to just figure out what flavors are by doing it, and just doing something. And
but how'd you learn it?
Just by doing it.
Just by doing it, right? Just over time.
Yeah.
Like
years.
Burning stuff, making wallpaper, mashed
Shut
potatoes.
up! I knew you were gonna. I knew you were going to bring that up.
What about
I
the 10-pound
bought.
biscuits?
What?
For Thanksgiving.
Right. I remember mom said, "Oh, it's got
This
some
guy
weight
got
to
some
it."
weight to it.
Yeah, so there's a lot of fails, as
Yeah,
you can see.
a lot of failure, but that's okay. That's life, right?
Yeah.
Like
I wonder what happened.
life is just a bunch of failure until you figure it out, and some
Yep.
figure it out quicker than others, and
That's hilarious.
yeah, that's just the way it goes.
I think we answered everyone's. There was one more. Was it easy to start a YouTube channel, and what were your challenges?
Oh wow.
So, okay, well, it's easy to start one. Like, you just start, I don't know,
Just start recording.
just start
something.
recording. But the challenge comes is staying consistent,
Right.
finding your
Which
niche.
is not.
I am on YouTube now. Huh?
Right.
See?
Now, why is that?
Because you said so. So we started our channel recording our homesteading and like gardening type things.
Right.
And then slowly we went into food. And because you know me, everyone knows that I really just love food. I started posting a lot more food stuff.
Right.
And then like you cooking also, there was one time. And then that kind of just got the ball rolling. Like, people really loved that.
I would say the other thing too is like, instead of like trying to like focus on like something that people like,
That's
like
true.
do what you like, because there's a community of people
That's
out
true.
there that love the same things that you do. And
That's
believe it or
true.
not, like there's a lot of people in the world, and there's a lot of countries and a lot of places that still don't have YouTube, and so YouTube is going to grow more and more. And so like, find what you love to do and just do it, and slowly you'll see a community will come around that, because that's ultimately what happened with her. Is like, she loves to cook, and so we discussed, and it was like, look, this is what you love to do, so just do it, and just continue to do that, and build around
that's
that.
true.
And like that, she's easy to just get in front of the camera. Like, I'm not really a camera person. I'm a like really just like go type of person. A lot of times I forget the camera, and so that was one of my mistakes. Like, I watched the birth of YouTube. Yeah. And I was always like, man, I should do this, I should do that, I should do that, blah, 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 and never did it. I was never consistent with it.
Right.
And there were so many things that I wish that I would have did long time ago. And just now I'm watching it like really bloom, and all these people coming around the things that I love that I didn't think people would have loved back then.
That's true, yeah.
The whole herbal medical community. I mean, like, just look what is happening in that community right now. And this has been something that I've been dabbling around with since we've been together.
Yeah. I just definitely find something that you really love to do, and just stick with it.
Yep.
And you just gotta build build a community of people that love what you love.
And the ball will be slow in the beginning. Like, just
very slow.
Like, just know, like, there's not going to be anybody watching. I mean, you might get like 2 or 3 views of the random person that just happened to go across your thing.
The first few videos don't matter at all. So just get stuff going on in there, but you just gotta, I know it's like really cliche to be consistent, but it really does help.
Yeah.
And you just gotta, even though nobody's watching.
Because remember, it's an algorithm.
Right.
It's an algorithm, and you get stuck in somebody's algorithm, and then you're stuck there. You're gonna start showing up on their feed, and if they subscribe, then you're like pretty much stuck in their algorithm. So just remember, like, this whole thing, social media, is revolving around these algorithms.
And YouTube is sort of social media. Yeah.
No, YouTube is social media. Totally. Yeah. No, it's all a form of social media. And so they're all based around these algorithms, and YouTube wants to grow, And YouTube wants to be the best, just like
That's true.
Instagram wants to be the best, and TikTok wants to be the best. So they're going to try to figure out a way to get you into somebody's algorithm to keep you there. And that's a matter of consistency. So find a schedule, post on it, keep on posting on it, and just do you. Like,
Yeah.
Stay in your lane and
Stay in your lane.
No, for real, that's some of the best advice that
Yep.
that I've ever gotten in my life. Is just to stay in your lane, put on your horse blinders, and like don't look around. Don't worry about the judgments. Don't worry about anything else that's going on inside.
And
Just
honestly,
stay in your lane and just roll.
I've been talking to him about starting a YouTube because he is so knowledgeable, as you've all heard, but he needs to be brave. So you need to be brave and courageous, because that's one thing.
You do. Yeah,
but the thing is,
it's starting like
in the beginning, it's hard.
Right.
You just have to like shake it off and just kind of, because you think you're gonna. He's very analytical, of course. So if you're that type of person, you need to just not. I don't know. Just you just
like
gotta do it.
She's dragged me into it. So like, it's breaking me out of my comfort zone, and I've actually started my journey with mushrooms, and so like I'm starting to build up my content, and I'm recording. I haven't posted anything yet, but like it's more or less for me more than anything, just documenting my process and everything that I'm going through, and just my journey in mycology, because
it's important,
it's good.
And like all the video footage that I've recorded the kids, like it's memories too.
Right.
I really So keep thumbsing up this video so Trey can finally start his YouTube channel.
Or just add on to the High Path channel.
Okay, there you go.
Maybe you guys will see like a different.
So thumbs up for that if you're interested.
Maybe it'd be like a cooking with Rosa and medical, like nutritional tips from Trey, or tidbits or something. Maybe. Who knows?
Last question. I had to find it on a phone. So Just Z, how about showing how you create like editing? I know it looks easy to film, but takes time. Yeah, so maybe I will have to do a video on that. But it does take time.
It does. And she's always got her phone with her. She's always editing.
Yeah.
She's always responding to you guys. She's always been a social media girl. She's always been on her phone. She's always been in social media, always on Facebook.
But it's a little different when you're recording videos and stuff.
Yeah.
So it really does take a lot of time. Yeah. But I enjoy it. I really love showing everybody. I think I'll have to think about making a video to show how we create our little videos on the High Path channel.
Yeah, because she's really good at it. She's really, really creative, like super talented. This has always been kind of a passion of hers, and she was never consistent with it. And I just kind of like forced her into it to finally start doing what you love. Because you got it. This goes back to that last question. Like, you have to do what you love in this life. Like, you have to. Like, if there's one thing that like I've really, really learned like through all of this and like throughout my life, is like, you've got to do what you love. Like, you got to find what you love and just like geek out on it. Like, and I mean like really, really geek out on it and just get into it. And it just makes things better. And do what you love and
stay in your lane.
Stay in your lane. Right?
All right, everybody. We really hope that if you guys stuck around for this full video, whoever that you are, comment that you did, because we would love to know who did. This is going to be a long video, but hopefully you've learned some things. Hopefully we've answered all of your questions. If you have more questions, leave them below, and of course we will leave our comments. And thank you guys for all of your questions. If I could hug all of you, I would. I'm extending a huge hug to all of you guys who really, like, a lot of you guys have really stuck with us for a long time. And we really, really just appreciate your love and support always. Yeah, thank you for watching our video. Subscribe if you're new. We will see you on the next video.
Bye.
What does everyone say?
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
All the kids are around us. Alrighty, we will talk to you guys later or in the comments, and yeah, let us know if you have any questions. Bye.
Bye.